Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new video. So, we're going to have a look at a couple more best builds today and have a little look at some of the cool stuff people have been doing out there. Have a little chat about some building techniques and maybe a couple of bits and pieces that I might have done a little differently as well. So, let's jump into it. Okay, so first up, we have an interesting little build with some really interesting uses of sort of shape here. And the first one I've seen using the Blue Ridge set, which is quite cool. So, looking at the map, we are over here in the forest, not too far from Greg's Mine Supplies, I believe it is, just up the river from Helvetia there. This is from Modius, I think that will be pronounced. I always struggle with this. But there we go, let's drop that little like and have a little look around. So yeah, might have gone for slightly different roofs rather than the flat ones, but I always think that anytime I see flat roofs, so, you know, it is what it is. But an interesting shape here, lots of sort of bits sticking off the central structure, and like the use of the mixed greenhouses as well, they use really well inside, as we'll see in a minute. And yeah, the interestingly ramshackle and beaten up look to the Blue Ridge set. This is the first time I've ever actually seen it in-game properly, so it's kind of changing my perspective. I passed on this first time round, I might have to keep an eye out for it when it comes back again, because it's giving me ideas. So, heading on inside, it's a little bit cleaner in here. Have a little look over to the right there. We've got the power armor station around the corner and the entrance to the shelter. But we're going to head on this way. And loads of bits and pieces on display here, which is cool. Definitely some of the cooler items. Practical bits and pieces around as well. Cooking station in there. I do want that secret Nuka-Cola door at some point. Unfortunately, the only time it ever shows up is in a box set, a bundle box set. That I generally don't want the rest of, so, you know, what can you do? Interesting little entrance here. I really, really like the way this has different levels. They work really quite well today. Just a little bit of offset in there, it's quite cool. Like the metal floor underneath the power armor station as well. That was kind of emphasising the function of the space quite nicely. So we'll dip downstairs to the crafting room, nice and labelled for purposes of any visitor, I suppose. And yeah, the lighting in here is cool. The weather machine has given it an interesting tone overall, and then the rest of the lighting just gives it kind of a moody, atmospheric vibe. Mixture of sort of tech and spooky in some ways. Got some cool weapons on display there. I don't really like those stands, but I can't deny they do make the weapons look good, so there we go. I don't know what to make of that, but that whole display is quite striking. I do like that. Heading on in here, we have a brewing, crafting, and another sales spot for the vendors. There's lots of little vendors and stuff scattered around, and a lot of decoration work being done by different crafting stations throughout this whole build, which is quite cool. I tend to have like just a focus on a crafting area and stop there. This one's got a lot of little bits of crafting areas all the way through it, which is a different approach, and I quite like that. Little area for the Brahmin stuff out back here. Wondering if they get visits from Scorched coming up the hill there a little bit, judging by the turret, perhaps. Head on in. One thing I do note about this that I might do a little differently, your mileage may vary, do what you like in your own camp obviously, is maybe a bit more on the wall decoration front. Not so much where you've got glass walls, but where you haven't, some of the walls look a little bare to my eye. But even as I say that, there could be budgetary considerations, because when aren't there budgetary considerations? And there could also be a case of what's unlocked and what isn't unlocked in terms of stuff from Seasons and Atomic Shop and whatever else. So many potential factors. There's definitely a need to get that stone oven fixed, Bethesda. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because it's currently inoperable, as I understand it. At least I haven't been able to use it, and I know I'm not the only one. I do like this little space up here, though. As I said before, I like the fact that they're both kind of offset. I mean, this is a full story up, but it just feels like it's a half one, which is quite a cool little vibe. Nice to have the crops on easy reach there, protected from any attack outside. Do have to wonder where the water comes from. You should spend a lot of time with a watering can. Therapeutic, though, that. Yeah, head outside. Not a fan of the pet, though. At my luck king, those things are the bane of my existence. Dislike those creatures. On the other hand, cats and dogs just around the corner, so that's cool. Yeah, nice little build there. Definitely like that roof as well. Camp number 2 is a spot I've built before, but a long old time ago. This is a little cave down at the bottom of the Savage Divide, and has a little acid node inside it. So coming from 2-Hit Wonder there. Very, very cool. Let's have a look at this spot. So, as usual, just a little something outside. We've got the caravan here, the camper from the last season. I do like that thing. Used it a couple of times already myself, and yeah. In fact, the second time I used it as a vendor structure, which is what's going on here. It's a pretty cool little piece for that. It's quite compact, but it has enough room to fit a surprising amount in it as well, so it's an impressively versatile piece, and you get the option as to whether or not you have the awning on it as well. Placing it on the foundation here is not my personal favourite thing, largely because I'm not a big fan of how the foundations look, and I think these things tend to look better sunk into the ground. However, I suspect the reason is that the ground here is not even remotely close to being even, and probably doesn't sink in very well at all, so swings and roundabouts. Lots and lots of cool bits and pieces on display here. I do like that. Nice collection of stains there. Always amazing to see how many we've got now. It's like 18 season ones plus a couple more, I think. Very cool. I like that little spiked barricade there. I used that in a recent build as well. It's on the current season board, and definitely a practical kind of keep the bad guys out thing. And adds a nice little bit of extra texture to jump walls as well. You can use a flamethrower to get it right up against them, which is cool. Plus there's wall spikes for that too. And we head on in here. I like the way this is closed off. Using that little arch there and stacking up the barbed wire fences kind of encloses this quite nicely. It can be done in other ways, but this space is quite the nightmare to work with. So anybody who pulls anything off in here at all gets brownie points right off the bat, but this is quite nice. It harks back, in my mind, at least to the kind of Batcave-esque build I did back here, but anytime you put crafting benches in a cave, you're going to get that vibe, I suppose, but yeah, it looks cool. I like the way it's divided off with a central kind of island in there, and a lot of people tend to put their furniture just on the walls, understandable, but I do like that people kind of pull them off the walls. It's something I try and do occasionally and have a little bit more sort of three-dimensionality to it. One thing you can hear going on in the background here is the little hissing of the acid node that is smack in the middle of this cave. It's underneath the foundations here, which incidentally they've done a very impressive job of getting in. That's a very smooth and very low set of foundations, which is not easy to do in here. The price you do pay for doing that, of course, is every time you walk around you get stung by the acid, which is kind of spoils the spot in a way. It's a really cool place to build, but the acid node takes the edge off that, and obviously the stone walls are a bit awkward with foundations, but challenges notwithstanding, you can do some really cool stuff in here. There's a nice little bit of lighting in here, I like the benches and stuff. I really like the entrance here. It's understated and works nicely, this. I think it's cool. Definitely need to get those roses, but I have a feeling they were in a bundle of stuff that I didn't want as well. It was like 2 or 3 things that I did and a whole load of stuff that I didn't, if I remember rightly. I might have to pull the trigger on that eventually, though. Couple of new Blue Ridge turrets. Kind of surprised they're not up on the rocks further up above, though. I feel like you keep them out of the reach of any attackers and, you know, just kind of integrate them into the environment a bit more. Maybe it's a bit of a nightmare to get them up there, I don't know. But a very cool little take on a challenging location there. I definitely like that one, so nice work. Our final camp number 3. This one we spotted on stream actually the other day, and it's a spot I built long ago and quite a challenging spot as well. Another existing location type build. Yeah, little Quaner Hut that is in the mire and buried under a hillside and has kind of been taken over again. Definitely an interesting spot. Here it is on the map. Way out there. There's kind of a hill that runs north to south just to the west of this location, and the location is kind of on the wrong side of it. Deegan, I'm guessing is the pronunciation there for the person whose build this is. Very, very cool. Yeah, it's kind of on the wrong side of the hill for the mire. Everything you actually do in the mire is on the other side of the hill, so it's really easy to miss this place being here. And then there's another set of houses just a bit further up that also kind of pull the eye away from it. But it's an interesting little structure, if challenging to work with at times. Obviously the ground falls away very rapidly down the back of the hill here, and there's bits of ground that kind of step off. We've got nice little bits of decoration here and there. Might have gone with the rabbit hutch rather than the chicken coop on this one, just because it's a bit smaller and doesn't stick off the front there. But, of course, you have to have it available, which is an open question, as always. I like the way the light's coming out from inside the hut there. You've got a nice little ledge around the side here that you can squeeze things on. That's quite cool. There's a couple of bits and pieces of stuff from Fallout 4 that are not available to us to build with in 76 that I notice around here that Bethesda put in place. And every time I see stuff like that, it kind of grinds my gears a bit because I used to use them a lot, particularly a little set of stairs there. back in Fallout 4. Got a cool little front edge here, though. I like the curtains added onto the front, a little market sign. They've added some really cool bits and pieces on top of the hut here and on the hill, just to give it a bit more character, which works nicely. Kind of wishing I'd picked up that butterfly cage. Although in this case, I think if it had been put on a doormat and then sort of merged down a little bit, it might have sunk into the ground a bit, which would have worked nicely. Turret tucked just inside there. As we swing around to the right here, I really like that the vendor's just tucked right in the corner behind the barrel there. It's really making good economic use of the space, which is an absolute must in a space this small and compact, that also has quite a lot going on before you even start in here. And speaking of a lot going on, that's really what caught my eye here. There's a lot of colour, a lot of busyness, some cool lighting, and yeah, a lot of stuff shoehorned into a small place, which is always an ongoing challenge. Jealous of that armour bench. I missed that one. It was a Fallout First reward a bit back before I got Fallout First, so yeah, I don't have that. Might have to see if I can talk Bethesda into giving it me. You never know. I do like that bench, though. Lots and lots of detail on the shelves here. Some good merge work done there. Adding absolutely tons of detail. Liking a little Robinson Crusoe reference as well. Details on details on details. Small camps with lots of detail always look so much more complete to my eye. And yeah, my bias is leaning that direction for sure. And this definitely ticks my boxes. Quite like that wavy-wheeled crocodile head. That's quite fun as well. Like plushies just crammed in everywhere, and just there's always something new to spot in here, which is really, really cool. I like builds like that. Squeeze around the corner. Unfortunately, that cooking station won't work, but I'm sure they've got another one somewhere that does, that I probably haven't spotted. They've crammed a bedroom in the back corner here. This is a really compact little space, so I can kind of see why they went for that tiny little bed in the corner. Of course, it'll actually fit, which is cool. Like the little paper lanterns as well. It's nice. That bed is a little clean for my tastes, especially with the rest of this build. It's a little too new for sort of an apocalypse, but it does fit in the gap, which is cool. Stockings on the wall there. Always another detail to spot. I like that stein there that was on the end of the table. Notice that one. And interesting bits and pieces just sort of built up. Is that a plant merged into a barrel? I think I just spotted there. That I have gone through this place about 3 times already, and yeah, each time there's always something I didn't see before, and I like it a lot for that. So a really, really cool job in a very challenging location. But if you fancy building on an existing structure that is workable if challenging, this one's certainly a good choice. And a really cool job done. Particularly love the lighting, the colour, and the details. Nice one. So, there we go. 3 very cool best builds that I've come across via the new best build system. Do enjoy having a little look around and seeing what people are doing. It's always fun to get a little bit of inspiration and some ideas. If you want to have a little gander at one of my builds, here's my most recent one. And yeah, have a look around the channel. Tons of camp stuff on here. And countless other bits and pieces, both related, of course, to 76 and beyond as well. If you get Johns, join us for live streams. We're playing 76 and a whole bunch of other games as well. Fallout and the Stalker series. So, really cool stuff there if you want to hang out for that. And yeah, definitely lots and lots to keep you busy with. On the note, likes and subs always appreciated if you did like the video. I've got social media links and channel memberships down below if you want to support the channel that way as well. I very, very much appreciate that too. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.